welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, my name's Izzy. I make videos about my scoliosis journey. So today's video is going to be back to school tips. I know school usually starts in August, but it seems like this year a lot of schools are starting around September, so I thought this would be a good idea to give you guys some tips for after any type of scoliosis surgery. I went back to school at 2.5 weeks post-op for just a few hours each day, and I would go one day and then not go the next day and then go the next day. You can go back whenever you feel ready. Everybody is different, but at 2.5 weeks is when I was feeling ready. And then each week I would work myself up to going longer, and eventually I was going my full day, which is like 7 hours and 10 classes. After I had my spinal fusion surgery, I needed some accommodations to help me out a little bit. So I went ahead and got a 504 plan. So I'll explain what that is. 504 plan is any list of accommodations for any medical condition. So you can have as many accommodations as you would like, and it's just to help you have the most successful school year you can have in learning. And you do have to have a doctor sign off that you have the medical condition, but they don't have to sign off on the accommodations that you're asking for. I also want to add that these are not restrictions. These are just accommodations. So the difference between restrictions and accommodations are things that your doctor has told you not to be doing, and accommodations are things that you have chosen to help you out. As I was editing, I noticed that I needed to mention the fact that a 504 plan is a legal document, so your teachers should allow you to do these things at any time of the day. And before the school year starts, you'll have a meeting with your teachers and they'll sign off on these things so they're aware and know all of your accommodations and what you need. So my first accommodation is a good example of the difference between a restriction and accommodation. It's riding the elevator. So I was physically able to walk up the stairs just fine, but riding the elevator was just so much easier. So me and my family chose to have the elevator as an accommodation. So I did have to have a key to the elevator, but other than that, I was free to use the elevator whenever I wanted to, because my school has the main level and then a few classes in the basement, and I had 2 classes in the basement. Second accommodation was to leave my classroom early. So this was just because I walked slower than my classmates did, and also the hallways get super crowded and jam-packed, so I didn't want to get bumped into or anything like that. So this was just, I'd leave like 5 minutes early from each class, and I'd get there. Sometimes I get to the classroom a little early, but for the most part, I got there right before my class. Third accommodation was to have somebody carry my books for me. Most people after surgery will have a weight limit of how much they can carry, so mine was like 5 pounds. But I had probably more than 5 pounds of books, so I just had a friend take me to each class and they just carried my books. And then also for me, right after surgery, I had a wheelchair which helped me carry my stuff. I would just put my books down in it, and then I would wheel my wheelchair to each class. So I did not ride in the wheelchair. I walked and pushed the wheelchair because it was good to get my walking in, and then also it was faster and easier that way. But if I were to get tired while walking from class to class, I could sit in my wheelchair instead of having to find somewhere to sit. People also recommend rolling backpacks. I did look into it. I didn't think it was the best option for me and my school, but definitely look into it and see what fits you. This leads me into my fourth accommodation, which was alternative seating. So like I said, I had my wheelchair, so instead of using the hard school plastic chairs, I did sit in the wheelchair in class. But I now this year will probably bring a pillow, which is just softer than the hard chairs, because a lot of times my screws get stuck on the hard chairs where the pillow prevents that. I also want to talk to your teachers and see if they have anything else that would work better, such as a computer chair or just a chair that has cushion. The fifth accommodation is walking breaks or stretch breaks. So this is where I can just go in the hallway and walk around for like 10 minutes or however long I need. I can just stretch, do whatever I need, just because sitting for an hour or however long your classes is a little much right after surgery, so it's just nice to be able to walk or stretch around. The sixth accommodation is nurse breaks whenever I needed them. So I could just go to the nurse, lay down, and I would take Tylenol for pain, and then I would do icy hot patches too. So we had to supply those things to the nurse, but then I could use them whenever I needed them. And also, my nurse had a heat pad, which they didn't just give to anybody. We had to talk to them about using it, but you could ask your school if they have something like heat pads or packs, because I really like that. Seventh accommodation is modified PE. I was in a PE class in middle school. Not everybody's in it, but I happened to be in a PE class when I was having my surgery. I chose to do a modified PE instead of no PE. They did ask if I wanted to just get a different class instead of PE, but I thought since walking is really good after surgery because it's about the only thing you can do physically, I thought it would be a good idea if I was still in PE, but chose to like walk around instead of participating in the activity, because most of the activities you will not be able to do, but I would just walk kind of like laps, and sometimes my PE teacher would let me have a friend walk too, so it wasn't like awkward. My eighth accommodation is additional days to make up work. A lot of times I would miss school because I had doctor's appointments, or I would go a day, skip a day, go a day, skip a day, just because it was hard to get back in a routine of consistently going to school. So I would get additional days to make up my work instead of like most kids get one day if they miss a day of school to make up their work. I would get a few days. That is all my tips and tricks about 504 plans and going back to school after scoliosis surgery. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and got something out of it. Also, make sure to follow me on Instagram, and I will link that in the description box. Bye!